All right. This is the part where, okay, we're going to say go live. This was fast. How we doing? We looking good? Hey, how you doing? We're live. Isn't that fun? Isn't that exciting stuff? Hey, how you doing? It's James Ellis here. Welcome to another employer brand breakdown where I break down employer brands and hopefully employer brands don't break me down. That's just how we work here. So quick notes. If you haven't had a chance, if you haven't seen the original or initial episode of The Change Agent, where is it clicking? There it is. There it is. Click the thing. Go to thechangeagent.news. Subscribe. It's free. It's every Monday morning. I'm planning on making some doozies. This week's was pretty good. The manifesto, maybe you saw it on LinkedIn, maybe you didn't, but definitely worth checking out. A steal for twice the price because it's free. Anyway, that's that. So the changeagent.news. So today we're going to talk about Oatly, right? We're going to talk about Oatly. Now, if you don't know Oatly, and it's possible you don't, it's not nearly as well known in America as it is in Europe. It is oat milk, the deeply sexy company industry that is oat milk. That is, you take some oats, you stick it in some water, you do stuff to it, you squeeze it, you blend it, you strain it, and oat milk, yay, it's milk that's not quite milk. It doesn't come from cows. Oat milk, for a long time, was hippie food. Let us be honest. That is what that was for. Oh, you're allergic to lactose? Try the oats. And you're like, oh, okay, I got to try the oats. And for the longest time, that's where it lived, in the health food store, in that one spot in Whole Foods back before Amazon bought it and turned it into everybody's favorite grocery store, I guess, and instead of something special or interesting. Oat milk was boring and for a very particular class of people, type of person. Since then, the last 10 years, oat milk's everywhere. Right? You can go to Starbucks and get yourself a latte with oat milk. I'm not sure how that tastes. I'm not an oat milk guy. I like my moo juice. Anyway, oat milk is all the rage. And what's really, really interesting is that because Oatly is in this position where it's trying to change an industry as well as establish its own company brand, it's creating change. It's trying to do a lot of lifting, a lot of work to say, you don't just want to try a new kind of milk. What you really want to do is make some real change, whether it's because it's plant-based or because it's lower calorie or whatever. There's a lot of reasons to create change. And that idea of having a mission of change really opens some doors. So what you're going to see today, if you're an employer brander, bring the Kleenex, because what I'm going to show you is going to make you weep. I mean, legit weep. There is some great stuff. Now, for the record, Oatly is well known for having a very consistent, strong, and contrarian, I think is the right way to put it, kind of brand and kind of branding. You may have seen ads, you may have seen billboards or bus stop spots that are a particular kind of font, a particular kind of way of communicating, which absolutely stand out. And we're going to see how well that feeling kind of shows up in employer branding. So allow me a moment to move some screens around so that I can get this right and I can record this properly. And let's refresh that. Okay. Well, that's interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share my screen where the button says, here's the share. Remember, as we do this, we're not here to denigrate. We're not here to beat up. We're not here to poke fun. We're here to learn some lessons, to learn some cool stuff. And that's what we're here to do. So here is the Oatly corporate site. And what the hell is this, right? What is this? What's going on? And someone's messaging me as I speak. Hold on. Thank you. Thank you, Maria. No, I do not want VC funding. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I believe that. All right. Live and without a net, folks. You can see my messages. And Audra, don't get any funny ideas. I know you're thinking about it. So here is a weird brand and weird website that doesn't scroll down. It scrolls to the side, points at a menu button, an oat drink company website. Okay, so I want to do here and I want to go to home and I want to scroll. Wow, this is really weird, right? This is very, very strange. Stuff we sell. This is literally not quite the site I saw earlier. I think if I went to a bigger resolution, I don't know if that's going to work. Hopefully we don't mess stuff up. Yeah, this is crazy stuff. This is really contrarian stuff. Stuff we sell, stuff we do, all sorts of good stuff. Shelf-stable oat milk. Loving this font. By the way, actually a font. It's not a drawing. It's a drawn font, so they can apply it everywhere. It's really kind of nice. Really good stuff. Just everything seems to be very much if I can zag where everybody else zigs, that's what I'm going to do. And look at this stuff. Oh, whoop, here we go. Let's go back. Oatmeal does the golden spurtle. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? That's an unpleasant thing, but it's not. It's this idea. It's a championship for porridge. You use a spurtle to stir the porridge. Wisconsin Supper Club, by the way, Wisconsin still has supper clubs. I used to live there. I know. Swaps dairy with Oatly, an amazing kind of challenge because Wisconsin known for cows, right? It's a cow kind of place. So that's a really interesting idea. So you can see already that they're already making some very challenging decisions. They're positioning themselves very interestingly. Visually, let's take a moment. Yeah, there's this font, but there's also this font, this really interestingly kind of OCR computer typewriter sort of situation. Really interesting challenge choices they're making about how to brand themselves. Remember, this is still corporate side. We haven't gotten into the employer brand side. We swapped dairy for Oatly at a diner in Louisiana, an Oatly dragster, which obviously is not a drag. And what you'll notice is this thing where every time you expect something, they go a different direction. 37 Oatly ads for minor league baseball. I don't even know what that is. I want to click on that stuff. Will trying oat milk make me like your billboards at all? Look at this stuff. They're flat out communicating this idea of people might not like us, which is so great. I am writing an article right now about EVPs not really saying much. And this is the kind of stuff where I go, yeah, a classic value proposition says we are for you, we are not for you. The problem is we kind of soften it really nicely. We kind of make it as safe as humanly possible. And it doesn't mean anything. Here, they're embracing this idea of, look, some people like the moo juice, and that's totally cool. For other people, this is the place to be. I don't like that ad. I don't like your ads. I don't get these ads. What are these links? They're not, hey, join us. They're not, hey, we're wonderful. It's, I don't like that ad. What is going on? How about, I don't like that ad? Where does that get me? Oh, a different ad. It's like milk, but made for humans. I don't like your ads. Where does that get me? Oh, it wants me to email them. I don't get these ads. Wait, why are these ads? Is a great, look at this design work. Look at this font choice. Look at this, what they're saying. So here's our best attempt at a coherent answer. This site shows you 37 other ads we wanted to run instead of the one you saw in your baseball stadium. What? What is going on? If Oatly really helps the planet, can I just pour it directly onto the earth? Look, you're walking past this and you see an ad like this and you're like, what is going on? It is making very contrarian choices and very much on purpose. I am loving this. The packages won't be in your store. The packages won't be this big in your store. Okay, that's okay. Not as fun. That's not as great. There are other stuff here, but let's go back. Let's see if we can find, how do we get here? Here we go. Okay, so let's go back. Do one more click before we get into the corporate side. Oatly who? If you found yourself wondering what sets Oatly apart from other companies, you've arrived at this webpage for answers. Now, this is where you'll start to see this kind of feeling start showing up in the career site in a moment. So let's see. You've arrived at this very webpage for answers. Then we're delighted to tell you, but we should probably warn you that we aren't going to be able to do so in a few succinct sentences. Everything in copywriting says get it tight as possible. And here they're saying we're not going to do that. Every opportunity they have to make a different choice, they are absolutely doing it. It is so good. I mean, this looks like it's written on a typewriter. It's so good. I mean, what is Oatly? There's videos. What does Oatly taste like? Here's what we believe. This kind of very fun, I guess, is an easy word, but this kind of soft, friendly, bubbly design type. It's so strong. I mean, you would see this driving by and you'd be like, yeah, I know exactly what that is. So if that's the case, let's talk about their career site. Here it is. Look at this. First off, starting with an exclamation point. The cojones, the ovaries, my goodness, the guts to go and start something by saying, I am literally starting a sentence with an exclamation point. I'm breaking rules now. I'm going for it. I love this. Entering this site may lead to a possible career with Oatly. Okay, that's a kind of fun, goofy headline, but it gets better. Attention, by accessing and using this site, you are agreeing to our terms of use and the potential of a future at Oatly that will include working with a diverse range of people from different fields, like people who made this site more complicated than it should have been. Entering this site does not guarantee you receive an offer of employment. Okay. Oh my God, right? You're getting this? You're seeing like, hold on. They didn't stick the EOC and the diversity claim way down at the bottom and use a bunch of legalese bullshit. They brought it way up to the top. Attention, accessing this site. You agree to our terms of service. That's the stuff in the tiny, tiny print at the bottom. And the potential of future of Oatly. They're not saying they're giving you a job, but wow. Just wow. Let's scroll. Advisory. This site may be too intense for some and not intense for others. Either way, we welcome you. Okay. Show me a better diversity message than that. Go ahead. I want to see this because wow, they just said this is for some, but not for others, and that's totally fine. This might be too much. It's a Goldilocks situation. Might be too hot, might be too cold. We don't care. We welcome you. First off, for whom is this too intense and for whom is this not intense enough? It's a really interesting kind of like misdirection to insert this message of we're really, really open to all sorts of people. Warning, we're a company built on the idea of change. Okay, from the day we started in 1994, we've been committed to finding new ways to make it easier for people to eat better and live healthier without recklessly taxing the planet's resources in the process. So you are absolutely positively sure you want to apply to work for a company that strives to, my God, this is a mission statement. Are you sure you want to be a part of this? Are you sure this is the thing you want? So well written. Yes, show me the job offer. Show me the jobs on offer. No, get me out of here. We're going to keep scrolling. Public notice as required by law, planting oat drink will not result in more oat drink. That's just funny. That means nothing. It's just funny. It's just, hey, here's my personality. It's a joke for a joke's sake. When's the last time you saw a career site with a joke for a joke's sake in it? So infrequently. Disclaimer, Oatly is not responsible for direct, indirect, inconsequential, or consequential damages resulting from the following values. We believe this stuff. Everybody, regardless of spiritual beliefs, blah, blah, blah. The reckless pursuit of profits without any consideration for the well. This is really strong language. This is what great copywriting can do with a strong brand. This is something I want to touch on for a minute. If you're a brand that just says, we sell oat milk, none of this amazing stuff is possible. If your brand is, we sell oat milk, and the way we want to sell it is to change the world, to make the world a little better place. That's a little better. Maybe you can write some of this stuff, but you're not getting all the way there. If the brand says, we know that choosing oat milk is a choice, a specific choice. You don't trip and fall into the oat milk unless you're in Sweden. You just don't. So we need people to make a conscious choice, which means we need to make our own conscious choices. And sometimes in surprising directions to reinforce this idea that this is a place where we are always making these conscious, unusual, contrarian choices. Now we're starting to get closer to this kind of branding and this kind of copywriting. The strength of your brand is not on how pretty you write your words. The strength of your brand is not on how pithy your EVP is and the 7,000th way you find to say we're a fantastic place to work. A fantastic brand says this is what we stand for, and very often, this is what we reject. This is what's missing in so many EVPs and so many employer brands. This sense of this is what we aren't. This is who we don't want to be. We've all heard Seth Godin talk about people like us do things like that. And in a lot of ways, that's a strong way of thinking about EVP. But what we're rejecting is, what we're usually using is that idea is to say, how do we get everyone to be like us? How do we dissolve the differences to say it's for everybody? And it's not in a way that matters. Sure, it's for everybody regardless of sexual orientation and religious and skin tone and all that other good stuff. But ultimately, you got to buy into these ideas. So powerful, so strong. This is so stupid. And I'm kind of like, I'm going to give it the biggest pass because never fold, spindle, or mutilate. That's a line from the 70s. And only I'm old enough to remember you do that to cards. You couldn't spindle a card and no one knows what a spindle is. But it's a joke. It's just a joke. Entry requirements. Have the courage to share your ideas. Oh my God, what is this? Being comfortable with the concept of silence instead of feeling. I was telling somebody yesterday, when you look at how a comedian structures a joke, they don't say why did the animal cross the road? They say, why does the chicken cross the road? Now, obviously comedians don't say, why did chicken cross the road jokes? But I'm saying there's a level of specificity to the fact that it's a chicken and not a toad and not a bunny and not a tsetse fly or not a whatever. It's a chicken. There's a kind of specificity that even if you don't know much about chickens, or even if you don't like chickens, you still go, there's a little more depth here. If you think back to your favorite stand-ups and their best bits, they're usually referencing something so specific that it probably only happened to them. I'm thinking like Chris Rock's last stand-up set is called Tambourine, and it's all about his really horrible divorce. And it's like, well, okay, not everybody else is a millionaire and has to give up their whole pile of money to get divorced because they messed up. That's a specifically Chris Rock bit, but the way he tells it, because it's so specific, because even if it's just for him and I don't like live in his world, I still get the joke. I still find incredible humor in it. In fact, because it's specific, he can create humor. They're getting so specific that they're finding depth. And depth is so powerful and something we do not see very often. Staying light on your feet and adapting to ever-changing environment. Oh my God, how many times have I seen that in job sites, but called fast-paced environment, right? This is saying something interesting, a little better. Use your judgment. I love that. I just flippin' love that. Okay, so there you go. So let's look at some jobs. So here's the thing. It's a weird site. It really is strange sites. And we'll look at locations because they're a little weak there. For a strong homepage, they do go a little weak as we go in. Here is their headquarters page, which has 4 photos, 2 jobs, and a picture of the TA specialist who's running it. A couple of guiding principles and a map. Really, really tight, really, really simple, really, really straightforward, not too much. Their mission, their idea of who they are is so strong, they don't have to really invest too hard in it. In fact, if you go to locations and you go to London, all you get are 3 pictures and a map and 1 job. There's really not a lot of there. But notice the fonts, the layouts, the design, the feeling carries. What it does is it says you had to go through that homepage and learn about us a certain kind of way that because we're visually calling to it, it feels more valuable. There's a really good study that shows, I was listening to this podcast and they said, we did 2 ads and one was listing the features of why you should choose this bank. You know, you get better rates, you get better service, And we did another commercial, which was just a horse galloping, gorgeously shot through the fields with some killer music talking about you should choose this bank. And people watched, they split the audience up and they say, watch this commercial and tell me what you think. And everybody preferred the horse video. And the fact that people who only saw the horse video, or the people who saw the horse video said, yeah, it's great because it makes me feel like they have lower rates and better service. Why? Because they had a positive association and it carried through. You don't have to smack people in the head over and over again about what you have. If you've done it once and you've done it really well, you're good. You've done it. But literally, this is where the bar is. You got to see their homepage. That's quite the bar. I'm even surprised if you go to departments, a lot of this is work in progress. Also, I'm having real kind of like Woot vibes. Everybody remember Woot from like 10 years ago, or early Groupon vibes? The copywriting, so full of personality, so aware of who it is. Now, you know, it wasn't just one person who wrote this thing. It was a committee and a bunch of people and a bunch of editors, but it still maintains its sense of itself. So well done. Okay, let's look at a job. Let's just go jobs. Again, fonts. This is super clean. This is super light. Let's just do here. Microsoft Solutions Architect, hybrid. A picture. Here's the title. Looking for a techno wizard. Okay, first, techno wizard. Come on. Who else is saying stuff like techno wizard? Who can accelerate our M365 Power Platform and Azure platforms into the stratosphere. Look no further. Okay, is it a little hyperbole? Yeah. And if you stuck this on the Bank of America side, I go, this is garbage. In this framework, I get it. It is clear. It makes sense. Dear potential new colleague, what? Is Katrina Kibben watching this? Because a job posting that starts, dear potential new colleague, I want to hear your thoughts. In fact, I actually get to talk to you soon. Want to hear your thoughts on this. What is this? This is so crazy. 1, 2, 3 bullets. 1, 2, 3, 5 bullets. So 8 bullets total. The Oatly way, your application. We value your diversity and inclusion and welcome people from all backgrounds. Great. If you have the curiosity, passion, and collaborative spirit, let's do this together. Oh, man, what is this? This is fantastic. I'm going to click on apply for a job. Okay, based on the requirements, what would you highlight as your... What? I'm so annoyed. I am so annoyed by how well this is done. This isn't tell me why you should work here. It's, hey, based on what you know about this role, what's the most important thing we should know about you? Love it. And then the qualifiers, because they have to have those, I guess. And then here's your personal information. Drop a resume, drop additional file. That's it. This is easy. I can apply for this in 5 seconds. I mean, maybe a minute or two to write this, but I love it. This sense of it's not about hitting all the requirements, about, look, give us the pitch. Why this? Why you? Why now? We just want to hear. Loving it. Loving it. I will say, and Maria, please go away. Hey, Audra, I'll get back to you. Their social posts, surprisingly, weak. Really, really weak. It's all, there's no career site, no employer branding, no recruiting stuff. They are, well, actually, let me say it again. There's no direct employer brand or recruiting stuff, but let's be fair. When your brand is this strong, anything that reinforces the consumer brand reinforces the employer brand too. It's the one brand strategy, and they're doing a great job. If you get a chance, go take a look at this video. It's this idea that in Paris, they're not allowed to do murals unless it's artful and not commercial. So what they did is they made these quote unquote artful ones, and they stuck these things in front of it to make it an Oatly kind of ad. And they did it a couple of different ways. And you're just like, oh, it's so nice. It's so just, okay, this is a company with a sense of humor. This is a company that can be clever. This is a company that thinks in lots of different directions. It's really trying to clearly solve this problem of how do we promote this thing in Paris. I love this stuff. Is it clearly employer branding? No. Sorry, my bad. So here is, I missed the tab. So here's the video. Too many tabs. Well, there's the video from Paris, and then you have the guy wheeling in what looks like a porta potty or a cabinet of some sort to block off a piece of it and make it look perfectly aligned. Oh, the door's opening. He'll close the door, I'm sure. Yeah, get it right in the right spot, close the door, and suddenly it becomes an Oatly ad. It looks clean, and it's so clever. It's just so clever and so nicely done. And this is a site that doesn't have any recruitment marketing ads. It's a lot of consumer ads, but it's just there to reinforce why we exist and what we're doing. And it's tremendous. Okay. That was Oatly. So if you're taking notes, there's a lot to be taken away from here. Strong brand. I mean, strong strategic brand. It knows who it is and who it's for and who it's not, to a point where it is so laser focused on the change it's trying to create in the world that it can make jokes about the change it's making in the world. It can take chances. It can make these incredible leaps forward in creative and visuals and content that a weak, soft, we're here for everybody, and that's a lot of companies, can't do. And that's its own strategy. By having that strong, clear strategy and then having that strong, clear brand, it can make choices no one else can, thus making it a company on its own. There's no competition for this sort of thing. Are there other oat milk companies? Yeah. Do they look and sound like this? No. This is singular, and it's tremendous. So I hope this was useful. I hope you got a lot of good ideas out of this. I hope you had your tissues handy because, oh man, there's some great stuff here. I will stick this on YouTube if you, in a couple of, maybe a day or two. Here is the YouTube if you want to check out all the other previous employer brand breakdowns. Just go and subscribe and check out Employer Brand Labs or Employer Brand Breakdowns. They're all there. And take a look at those. If you've got a brand you'd like me to break down, I've got next week's set up. Maybe even the week after, but I'd love to hear your ideas about other brands I should do breakdowns on. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next time.